This is genuinely insane as multiple players league-wide remain unsigned heading into next season. We have an update on what the New York Rangers' next move is going to be, and we also have an update on the Rangers' salary cap situation, because there is one thing that no one is talking about that we're going to break down in this episode that will surprise Rangers fans and has serious implications heading into this season. We're going to break it all down in this episode of Rangers Digest. But before we do that, a quick reminder to hit that subscribe button. About 77% of you who watch these videos are not subscribed to the channel. So if you want to stay up to date with everything that's happening with the New York Rangers, this is the place to be for all your daily New York Rangers content. But thank you everyone for putting up with my setup the last little while. I was traveling, but back at the studio now. And obviously got an update to go over today. But before we get into that, Evgeny Kuznetsov, what's happening with that? He is making a return, surprisingly, to the NHL. We got to talk about it. Kuznetsov, again, as you can see here from his agent, intends to make an NHL comeback next season. Now, there's a lot of accounts. I'm not going to say reporters. A lot of them are on vacation right now. But there's a lot of accounts that are linking Kuznetsov to the New York Rangers, whether it makes sense or not. Now, I'm on the side. I want to start with this first of all. This is genuinely insane. This makes no sense for this team. But what if they were looking at signing an Evgeny Kuznetsov to a PTO? Now, that could make a little more sense, like Connor Sheary. I think it gets very interesting. As you can see here in the JFresh chart, the last time he played in the NHL didn't look great. Not great numbers there, whether it's offensively or defensively. There's a reason that he was cut from his NHL squad just a season ago, and obviously not the greatest numbers. And you can see here that the Canadians are not interested in Evgeny Kuznetsov in the Eastern Conference. I thought this was interesting and gave some insight into, I think Kuznetsov actually does want to go to an Eastern Conference team. Sounds like he had some interest in the Montreal Canadiens, but not reciprocated. Obviously, they do not want him on the squad. Most recently this summer, he's been skating in North America again. He's been skating at the Washington Capitals practice rink, playing some beer league hockey, some men's league, whatever you want to call it, and skating with some of the Washington Capitals. Obviously, he was there for a long time and won a Stanley Cup there. So it sounds like he has some interest in returning to the NHL and playing on an Eastern Conference team. Now, you can take a look here from bench rates, and they do a lot of stuff with advanced analytics. Does this make sense for the New York Rangers? It could in theory, but they would have to shed some salary cap space. We'll get into why in a second, because it's pretty obvious at face value that they can't really afford too many more players heading into the next year. But they actually have a couple guys unsigned, and that's going to create some problems, a logjam. But let's get into it. We just don't know which season to show you. The Canucks, so that it's relevant. Obviously, he's linked to the Canucks as well, because it's unclear what Evgeny Kuznetsov level is relevant to now. Because obviously you can take a look at his KHL stats, which we will in a second, but not great numbers. And we have no idea what he's going to look like in the NHL at 33 years of age at this point. So therefore, choose for yourself amongst these cards. And they posted a bunch of the advanced analytics cards, as you can see there. But his last season where he was really good and really effective was 21-22. Doesn't seem that long ago. That is quite a while ago at this point. This is a what have you done for me lately league, and New York Rangers fans know all about that. What have you done for me lately? If it's nothing, I don't want any part of you on my team. And there was also a very effective segment with the Carolina Hurricanes in the 2023-24 playoffs last year. Obviously, that didn't work out for the Carolina Hurricanes, and we all know why. But where in 12 minutes of ice time, he reached the 95th percentile in individual offense per 60 minutes. So he was putting in good minutes in the playoffs just a season ago. But he's returned to the NHL after a rocky season, or will be returning to the NHL after a rocky season in the KHL. And you can take a look at some of the numbers here. Not a great year in the KHL by any means. Really not. Put up some penalty minutes as well. Like, really not a good year. Didn't have a great year with the Carolina Hurricanes in the regular season last year either. And hasn't been really that point-a-game guy for a while at this point. So to me, I know there's a lot of rumors flying out there. Even if it's on a PTO, which would make more sense than outright signing him. Like, if you're going to bring this guy into the Rangers, it's got to be on a PTO. Even on a PTO, to me, doesn't make any sense. Let the young guys play. I have no idea what Kuznetsov is going to add to this team at this point. especially with a logjam of younger players at positions that you want them to continue to get better at. And you can see here, this is from the NHL, or the hockey writers, I should say, excuse me, and Michael DeRosa, 3 potential landing spots for Evgeny Kuznetsov. And obviously, the Rangers have been named as, not one of them in this article, but have been named as a potential suitor and a club that could be keeping an eye on Kuznetsov. He remains a UFA, as you can see here, but this change, is going to come before NHL training camps. It sounds like he's going to sign very soon, excuse me, and he only had 24 points in 63 games just a season ago in 2023-2024, and had 55 points the year before that, and obviously 78 points the year before that. As time goes on, his production has dipped significantly, right? So I don't think this makes much sense for the New York Rangers anymore. You can see his power score in the KHL. This actually was almost identical to Ivan Demidov's power score in the KHL, so do with that what you will. Demidov looks like he's going to be a great young player in the NHL, but Kuznetsov now at this point, 33, right? So you have to keep that in mind. I don't know what he's going to add to this team. Now, in terms of the salary cap and how this would play into that as well, there's something that nobody's really talking about as it pertains to the Rangers and their salary cap situation. If they wanted to sign Kuznetsov and he wanted to come here on a PTO, let's say, for league minimum, they could do that. But man, they would be right up against the cap. Like, that would not be a good move whatsoever for the New York Rangers at this point. They would be right up against the cap. And the reason that they can't do that, and why I actually think, and nobody's talking about this, another move's coming, and I'm going to make another video about this, that there are more moves coming. Like, somebody's going to be on the block heading into training camp and through training camp. It is obvious to me at this point, and the reason for that is if you take a look at the team right now, this is everyone that's signed. This is the Puckpedia lines. I don't think this is necessarily what we're going to see. You look at the press box, you got Brodzinski, Othman, Vakanainen. A lot of these guys are going to be fighting for spots next season. And then when you go even further, there's a lot of guys that could be touching the NHL, right? You got Connor Sheary, who just signed a PTO. We covered that last week. Matthew Robertson, right? Like, what's going to happen with him? They signed Pouliot, who I think is a depth defenseman, not going to be in the NHL, but could, spend some time. There's a lot of guys. Is my point. Parsonen is here as well. Juuso Parsonen, what's the plan for him? You have 2 guys here on the right side, including Dylan Garand, who are still RFAs. They're not even signed. Nobody's talking about this. They still have to sign these guys to contracts before the next season starts, before this season starts, coming up here in about a month's time, so they're ready for training camp. Nobody's talking about that. I'm going to have another video on that because that seriously affects the salary cap right now and how much space this team has. You got to sign those guys, so you can't be going all willy-nilly and signing a guy like Evgeny Kuznetsov to a standard contract or a PTO. It makes absolutely no sense. So I'm here to dispel these rumors. Evgeny Kuznetsov on this team as a standard agreement, a regular contract, a PTO, whatever it is, he just wants to show up and volunteer. Makes no sense. Makes no sense at this point. Want no business with this player. I don't think he helps the team, and I don't think there's a reason for the team to take him on because we should have the young guys playing in these positions. And I think, honestly, there's a logjam of players at this point, especially up the wing. So can he play center? Yes, but the Rangers have their own dilemma at center already. So why add another person to the mix? Let me know how you feel about Evgeny Kuznetsov possibly joining the Rangers. A lot of rumors out there right now from different accounts floating that, he could be linked to the Rangers. Let me know how you feel about that. I wouldn't do it, but, we'll see. Anything can happen, and PTOs are going to be flying soon. So let me know how you feel in the comments, and if you haven't yet, hit that subscribe button so you can stay up to date with everything New York Rangers.